the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here bringing you this review to this newest Wale project called The Imperfect Storm. Now, this one clocks in at 6 songs in 18 minutes, so it's a relatively short EP. I think just something to hold us over from his last project, Wow That's Crazy, to whatever's coming next. This one actually dropped as a surprise. Actually, quite a bit of music, singles, projects, all that dropped as surprises because it was Juneteenth. If you don't know what that is, please make sure to educate yourself because it is a really important holiday and it should be recognized federally. But I'm not going to get on that soapbox now. I'm just here to talk about this project. So, again, this is his follow-up to Wow That's Crazy from last year, and that's one of my favorite albums from the year. It had a lot of good points. I love how he is very positive. Whenever talking about the black experience, like, yes, he acknowledges there is a lot of difficulties that he has to face as a black man that people that look like me don't have to face. That's definitely true. But he looks at it from a positive perspective, like it has resulted in having a bigger community and bringing out love, and that's one facet of how to fight it, is to fight it with love. Of course, you need to bring awareness and stuff like that, as we've been doing lately. But you need love. You can't hate yourself because a lot of the times that's how you're raised, is to hate yourself. So he continues that on this one, although in some cases he does get a little bit more negative, just speaking of the facts that black men are shot in the streets, stuff like that, as we have seen from George Floyd and the ensuing protests. So if I'm going to talk about the pros here, his sound and flow, just the same as normal. It's always relaxing, always fun to hear. He can get upbeat if he wants to, but it's usually very uplifting. Even when he's talking about sad or depressing stuff, it's very uplifting to where there's a brighter side just by the way he's delivering it. And again, I'll touch on the fact that his writing did hit a new level last year with Wow That's Crazy. And he continues that throughout this one. This is basically just a follow-up to Wow That's Crazy. A lot of the same topics, a lot of the same delivery. Just more updated with the time, obviously, because a lot has happened since that last project came out. Cons, I guess if you didn't like Wow That's Crazy, which is shocking to me, but I know there are some people that didn't. If you didn't like that, you won't like this because, again, it is very similar. And then much of the project overall sounds similar, with more relaxing, chill beats and flows. Even when he does get more upbeat, it's still relaxing. He never has really a hype track. Which, again, 6 songs, he was going for one specific thing. So that makes sense. Had this been a 12 to 15 song album like Wow That's Crazy, it would have needed a little bit more variety, which he did provide on that one. So, again, being that it's only 6 songs, I expect less variety. That just makes sense so that he can make it more cohesive. I understand that. Now I'm going to just go through most of the songs, just the ones that I had notes on. I just describe what my favorite parts of them were and if I have any negatives, which I don't think I did for the most part. First, we open up with Moving Different. And this one touches more specifically on the issues that we are facing now with police, racial inequality, and all that. Talking about the protests and such as that. And my favorite line on here is actually calling out the people who have the resources to help inspire change and haven't. So he says, "Some rich black N-words ain't donate nothing. I won't say nothing, but bro do better." I specifically love how he hasn't been name dropping or anything like that. As you know, we have the whole J. Cole and No Name thing going on, which I still don't understand because both of them have done work. They might not, sure, J. Cole, he might not be as educated as he needs to be, but, and that I'm only saying that because he said that, but he's still doing work. I mean, he went to a protest, I know that, and good and well he's done more than just one protest. And people calling out Kendrick Lamar kills me too, because he's been on this for a long time. So I don't get that, but I love what he's doing, calling people out, because you need to have some sort of accountability, but he's not calling them out by name as if to guilt them. He's just bringing awareness to it, so I like that. After that comes Empty Wishing Well with Eric Bellinger on it. And this is an even more relaxing vibe. It's very reminiscent of On Chill from Wow That's Crazy. And this one focuses more on a budding love, but by the end is sending a positive message with the repeating chants of We Matter, said by Wale. Again, referring to the Black Lives Matter movement. Just reminding everyone, we matter, regardless of if he's making that point specifically for Black lives or for anybody, whatever. Just reminding that as humans, you matter. And that's something that's really important to hear. Next comes Blue, Yellow, Green, Pink, White, which is a more upbeat track where he just straight up spits truth about the levels that make up a person, how you can't judge them based on only one facet of their life, and how there are many different facets or colors, as he has chosen to title this track. After that comes June 5th / Queens and Gods. And this is split into two parts, obviously, June 5th and then Queens and Gods. June 5th is talking again about being black in America. Makes reference to the Shut Up and Dribble, actually even sampling what was said by, what was her name, Lauren Ingram. And then just talk about how black people make up most of our entertainment, such as music and sports. And so, like, that it's kind of weird that you can love them watching a basketball game or listening to some rap music, but when you see them in the street, you want to kill them. So that's kind of that's a good point that obviously has been made a million times before, but is still always important to hear. And then my favorite line here refers to how police, quote, think a badge is better than having some heart. I just thought that was a good line that brings up a good point, obviously. And then it follows up with the track, the second half of this song, Queens and Gods, which is him talking about his girl, obviously referring to her as a queen and himself as a god. By the end, calling her a goddess as well to put her on the same level as him. This is very similar to BGM, which was obviously uplifting black women. Although BGM was a lot more upbeat and overall enjoyable, I will say, whereas this one was much slower and melancholic. Not saying this one wasn't good, it just wasn't as good. But if he had have made it more upbeat, I would have just said it was a carbon copy of BGM. So I'm not complaining and saying that it's slower. I'm just saying that I like that song better. And then finally, Maajo, Majo, I don't know. I don't know how to say it, whatever. It ends with, it's a very relaxing, upbeat track. Basically just talking about this summer, starting with a verse about COVID and the whole pandemic, and then the second verse is about police brutality. So it's overall just encapsulating how this crazy year has gone. So that was really cool just to hear a slight commentary over like the past 3 to 4 months. And especially how he broke it up into verses. So like you have COVID here, and then you have the police brutality and protests here, even though COVID's still been going on throughout all of it. And obviously police brutality has been a problem forever. Breaking up into those two things, because that's how it seemed. It was like, oh, wow, we have COVID. Look, that's the only thing we're worried about now that the police brutality's brought up. It's like the pandemic's gone. We forgot about it, even though it's still here. So overall, this is basically Wow That's Crazy if it were shorter. I'm going to say that's a positive. Again, I like Wow That's Crazy more. It's just a complete project, obviously, whereas this one was never intended to be that. But this did have great commentary on the past few months. Had some good uplifting tracks, had some tracks that brought you down to earth and made you realize the things that are going on now. He always makes quality music, and he has been really turning it up. The past few projects, getting better and better as he goes along. So again, I very much look forward, based on this one, what his next album will sound like. Overall, I really enjoyed this one, and I'm going to have to go with a solid 8 out of 10. That's just where I got this one at. I couldn't see it going any higher because, again, this is basically the rating that I gave Wow That's Crazy. I feel like they're very similar and very comparable. But I definitely couldn't go any higher because I didn't go higher on Wow That's Crazy, and I still stick with that rating, so I'm going to stick with this rating as well. But still, I really enjoy this one. It's easy to get through. Again, only 18 minutes and 6 tracks, so I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. You can sit there and listen to it on repeat, if I'm totally honest, and if you enjoy Wale, of course. So after that, I appreciate y'all watching this video. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub. Hit the bell next to my name for notifications. I appreciate y'all, and I will hit y'all up next time.